Hey everyone, welcome back to Beekeeping with Natalie, or welcome to if you're new. Today's video is going to be kind of on Reflectix and feeding, which seems to be all our videos are lately, which is true because it's pretty much all we are doing this time of year. But I've done a couple of videos on Reflectix, and we just get these, I think it's from Menards actually. It's just these Reflectix, and you just have to cut them into the right size. I think it's like, oh I forget what, I think it's like right next to 20, would that be inches? 20 inches is where we cut them, and it's the perfect size for these boxes. You can just like cut one, use one to cut one with a box or whatever, and then from then on just use this as your like, whatever they call that, to cut the rest of them. But anyways, so we've got these, I've already done a video on them, and then buckets, which is what we'll try to use this time of year whenever it's getting cold like this. Now it is in the 60s today, and it has been for a while, but then it'll just randomly drop. So, and at night it gets pretty cold too. So
and it's
we just gotta
November 18th.
November 18th. So it's gonna get cold, and we just kind of don't know when. So it's best to just prepare for that. So we put these Reflectix on, and then bucket feeding, just because whenever it's frame feeding, sometimes that frame feeder will get cold inside there, that syrup, and then the bees will get in there and start to drown. We never have drowning issues in like the springtime, summer, and early fall, but when it comes wintertime, that's when we'll start to get problems with drowning, and that's when we don't use them. So I know we get questions about that all the time, how to avoid drowning. And the other thing would be is to add some type of ladders in there. We'll just throw some straw in there. That's just what we use. It's just easiest because you can carry around a bucket that has a bunch of straw in it and just shove it in those frame feeders. That works. Or you can just take like some scrap wood that you had, cut them into little strips, and put those in there too. But anyways, I wanted to do a video on feeding with Reflectix and bucket feeding, or feeding with Reflectix on, but you're doing buckets. So it's really nothing crazy or anything deep. I think Ian Stepler, I think it was him who we got this idea from. I feel like it is. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people do this actually, and I'm just gonna do another video to show. So if we put these Reflectix down, that hole right there where the bees feed off of from that bucket is gonna be covered. So all we do is, if you have like a knife or something, it's a little bit easier, but your hive tool works just as good. So just in the middle, I just cut out a triangle. Now I only cut the sides of it, so I don't actually cut the bottom piece here. So then I can, did I cut it all the way through? Yeah. Then I can just pull this back. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Pull it back so you're still getting all that insulation around, just that one circle there, so that you can still feed through it. So I'm going to throw this on so you can see that.
It looks like they've built some funny cone.
They have, so we'll have to tear that down. And another thing, whenever you're feeding with Reflectix, and they've actually filled it.
Oh, sure enough.
Which is good. That looks like a really good single. Those look good for sure going into winter. So this is what you want them to look like. You want them to be full, and actually, I'm not gonna do a tip test. We could, but I'm not going to. This looks like a foundation frame, but it's not. I can see down. It's filled with food in there, so that's good. I am gonna take this off though. But as I was saying before I got distracted, obviously, is if you're feeding with some fondant and you're putting Reflectix down, you have to take that bird comb off, or else the lid doesn't want to go down. And I just try to do that in general, just to make it a little bit easier to put that lid down. So I just take that, and then this lid's also got some stuff that they built on it. So I like to just hit this down on top of the box, and then I flip it, and I'll hit it again. That way it gets all the bees off so you can scrape it. But yeah, they've actually filled this. We are feeding 2 to 1 this time of year because we're just trying to quickly get something on there. But also, this will give them a good bit of weight too.
Yeah, because they'll store the 2 to 1.
Yeah, they'll store that. And it's easier for them to take it because with 1 to 1, I believe this is how it is. I've talked about this before. Sometimes I get it mixed up. But with 1 to 1, they still have to dry it out because it comes in kind of like nectar. Nectar is super thin and almost as thin as water. It's the same way with that 2-to-1. It's thin, so they actually have to dry it out so that way they can store it. With 2-to-1, they can just throw it in there and pretty much put it into those cells and store it away. So it gets on them a little bit faster and it gives them a good bit of weight. So that's what we've been feeding. That's what I've got here in this bucket too. And I will show these lids here in a second, but you can either put the triangle, you just fold it in. You can either fold it down like this way or like this. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put mine down that way so it's a little bit easier to put my lid on. These are a pain to put on in the wind, I will say that. So sometimes you can throw your hive tool down on top of it so it doesn't blow away. That's what I usually do. And then I put the lid on.
Your hive tool.
And then I pull it out.
Under the lid.
Yeah. It doesn't close unless you grab it, but yeah, so that's just what I do. Now these lids are, I think Bob has a video on them.
He does.
I think he does.
I can try to link it.
It's fine. We don't have to worry about it, but I think he's got a video on it. He's got a video on bottom board, so I assume it's probably in that playlist too.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
that's what we call them, bob lids.
That's what we call them. Every time we need like 10 of them, we go get the Bob Benny lids. So we've always called them. Same thing with the bottom boards, the Bob Benny bottom boards. But anyways, so it's just a lid that's got like a little notch in there so you can have a feeder shim kind of built into it. And then it's got these holes around it so you can bucket feed. The only thing with these is you have to have a mason jar lid. So that's what this is here. And I'm not gonna, these are a pain to take out sometimes unless you take the whole lid off.
Because they're propylized. Yeah,
they're propylized. So what you can do is, oh, this is a prime example of
why you need to shake your lid off.
Yeah. This is kind of an everything video, but I don't know who put these Reflectix on actually. Was it me? I feel like it might have been me. But this just shows you they can't get out of that lid unless there's some type of hole like these buckets, so they'll just end up dying. So this is actually really sad, but this is just kind of shows you we're gonna keep it real as we can. So I'm just gonna scrape these off. So I don't know if either the lid didn't get shaken or something happened here, but before you put your Reflectix on, you want to make sure you shake the lid. And there's no bees on top of this Reflectix or on top of your lid, or else they will die up there. So anyways.
Wait, were you going to show them?
Oh yeah, the whole point of this. So these are just mason jar lids. We buy these in bulk from the Amish store, just a couple miles from us. And so hitting this out can be a pain, and you don't want to use this sharp side or else you'll poke a hole through it. But you can use the back of your hive tool and hit it out like this. I think a lot of people know that, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that till I think like this year actually. When we were out at Bob's earlier this year, we saw everybody doing that and I was like, noted. But anyways, that's all that is. So these are just those mason jar lids that they're not the two, they're just one piece. So anyways, and then you can just shove it in there. You can sometimes pry it out, but most of the time RB's propylize it, so we can't. Anyways, back to the video. So this now you can see is open, so I can put this bucket on. And now they'll feed off it, but they also still have their Reflectix and their insulation on there. So anyways, that's kind of an everything video, just showing you a bunch of random stuff. Make sure you shake your lids and how you can feed with buckets, how to take these out, all of that. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it, but that's a good looking single, and I believe all of these look that way. If they didn't, we'd combine some of these. Like if this one didn't look as good, I'd combine it with that one. So.
And I think these are this year's nukes, aren't they?
They actually are, yeah. These are splits that we made. I think they were a little bit weaker splits too. Just kind of our leftovers after the ones we had sold. And they've done really good. They were all in a double at one point. I think we condensed them down going into winter, but they look good now going into
And we're going to bucket everybody?
We will probably end up bucketing everybody, pretty much all of this yard, just so we can get some type of feed on there, or it'll be Ziplocs, one of those. So anyways, I think that's it. So thanks for watching today's video. Follow along more bee adventures and be here next time on Beekeeping with Natalie.